Doesn't a narcissist want you to know? A narcissist does not want you to know their inner thought processes and what is going on inside of their minds and in their thoughts. And I am so glad that I just wanted to add that I am so very glad that people have responded so positively to my videos, and I am so thankful to be able to be a part of your life if you are watching this, and if you are a continuing viewer of my videos. Thank you so very much, and if you are new here, welcome, and I hope that you enjoy. Does conscious awareness mean looking out into the world and seeing reality for what it is and independently of your consciousness perceiving it? In this case, this is a thing. A thing is what a thing is in reality, and it is perceived as the same in your mind. Here, your conscious awareness acts as a passive observer of reality, which just simply exists right outside of your consciousness, and this conscious self has no power to impose anything on this reality. Reality is what it is. We look into the world and we see a dog and we accept that we see a dog, and that is all. Or does conscious awareness mean looking out into the world and selectively imposing your wishes onto reality to make reality fit what you want it to be on occasion when it is convenient and beneficial for you? In this case, a thing in reality is what you want it to be in your mind, but not what it actually is in reality. It is what you wish it to be because you have willed it to be so. Even though it may not be true, you somehow accept this as your reality. The truth is that humankind's consciousness is a passive observer type consciousness only. Consciousness does not exert the power to change reality in present moment. All we can do is just look out into the world and observe things. You have no power to look out into the world and observe a dog and then wish it into being a chicken so that everybody else would see a dog magically turn into a chicken and morph right before everyone's eyes just because you wished it to be so. When it is convenient for them, the narcissist puts his consciousness to work to transform reality into whatever he or she wishes that reality to be, and not what it actually is for the rest of us who don't look at reality this way. This is what permits them to so easily put on a mask and become someone, whoever it is that they may need to be and appear to be at this certain time in reality. The underlying philosophy and conscious outlook is that the very foundation of their mask is what permits them to lie so easily and lie so convincingly, because they see and have this outlook, this outlook that the dog morphing into the chicken outlook on reality all of the time. In a narcissist's mind, they often adapt reality to their wishes, which is impossible to maintain in the long term, because they have to blank out and eliminate things in reality which are in fact real. And if they are pretending that something isn't there, they may have to pretend that whatever there is something else instead entirely. And this is the essence of conscious active evasion in action. This process is also the foundation of deceptive self and deception of others. Conscious active evasion is the machinery which drives a narcissist's thought process and makes every single bit of what the narcissist does happen. We as neurotypical people are barely able to recognize this, and most of us never will, as the underlying reason for the narcissist's thoughts and actions, because we are in so much turmoil, inner turmoil ourselves, that when the shit hits the fan with the narcissist, and most of us would never suspect that someone's mind could possibly operate this way, that this is the underlying reason why they drive us crazy and why we don't recognize that something is wrong until something truly awful has happened. They have a fundamentally different way of processing reality that is so foreign. It is almost extraterrestrial in nature as opposed to human, to mankind. They have a fundamental flaw when it comes to processing reality. They actively change reality, but only inside of their heads, not inside of ours. And then they defend this false reality at all costs, which is to others and to their family, friends, and significant others very hurtful, frustrating, destructive, and eventually it will drive us away, will drive everyone away from the narcissist. Once you understand how screwed up their thought processes really are, and what is going on inside of their heads, it makes it a lot easier to walk away. If anyone doubts what I'm saying, take this example. For those of you who have caught a narcissist in a lie, did you have any proof? What was the proof, and was it indefensible? Did they deny their actions, giving no respect or credit to your indefensible proof? Probably so. And not only that, I bet you they would say that the evidence that you had or have puts them in no position to deny anything, but they denied it anyway, didn't they? Of course they did. So you say yes to all of the aforementioned. Well, there you go. There is the proof to what I am saying. To ignore and deny facts of reality that anyone can readily observe and are completely irrefutable is conscious active evasion in action. They know that you are right, but they are not going to admit it because they have wiped out these inconvenient facts from their actual conscious reality. So when you persist in trying to drag out these very facts that they are so against recognizing, you leave them no choice but to discard and they start the devaluation and the discarding process. So you are attacking the very essence, the very foundation of their existence. And it is a matter of survival for the narcissist at that point, like life or death. And you must be discarded once this stuff comes to light, even though they are guilty of the very things. And you probably do have irrefutable proof of the things that they are guilty of. They chose to stay in this hellish existence and extend it outward and foist it upon unsuspecting others who do not share this same outlook and the same delusion on reality. The biggest point here being is that their conscious outlook makes them adversarial to anyone who puts it as it is. It puts life like it is above their I wish. Their reality is what you wish it to be, or is it irrespective of what their victims wish it to be? And I think that everybody knows the answer to that question. A narcissist does not want you to know that you can expose them and make them shut down and run away in order to preserve their self-image. They really feel empty, nothing, weak, pathetic, alone, and abandoned. That they have an awful and heavy childhood trauma that they try to ignore and make disappear by any means necessary, by bashing you and other people around them so that they can feel good about themselves. They have created this monster that you have seen behind the mask, the cold-hearted and presumably untouchable being, in order to shield themselves from the pain that was brought upon them whenever they were too young. They don't trust anyone. They never rest. Their mind is constantly running. They are plotting, constantly finding the best way to deal with people and situations so that they have power and control over everything, because losing control is terrifying to a narcissist. They are very anxious and nervous whenever you touch them or hug them, and they hate this intimacy because they know that it brings too many emotions upon them, and they don't know how to deal with them, and they can fake it even though it pains them, and that they envy you. They are jealous of you for so many things that you wouldn't even understand or realize, or you would be surprised at how many things that they are envious of you about. And I just made a video about this before this one, that they don't understand the things that you do and why you do the things that you do. They have no identity, and that thought alone scares them so much that they have to refer to their alter ego to make them feel good about themselves. They do cry when they are alone and when no one sees them, but they don't cry for you. They cry for themselves. They are ashamed and disgusted with the fact that at their core, they are a weak and vulnerable child, and that they love the monster that you see in them, because that is the only thing that helped them reach this point that they have, whatever point they have reached in their lives. Their only protector, and it is their only coping mechanism, a defense mechanism at its very core, and that everything they do is to avoid anger, shame, their issues, because facing that emptiness is uncomfortable and scary, and they are scared that you will abandon them. Therefore, they will abandon you first. That they analyze you thoroughly, everything you do, from how you walk to how you talk, to things you like and what you dislike, your gestures, your micro expressions, everything. They don't want you to know that they're living with this shame. They don't want you to know that they don't understand what the meaning of true love really is, and that love is just a wish or a desire, and that they cannot maintain it. One of the reasons that this is one of the reasons that you start having issues after the honeymoon phase is over. A narcissist does not want you to know that they are not thinking about the present or the future. They live in the past. This is the reason why you get bullied and devalued, most especially anytime you have caused a narcissistic injury. A narcissist does not want you to know that she or he will dump you like a rag at any moment in time after the love bombing phase is over, and that they will love bomb to use you until their mission has been accomplished, and then they will discard you when they have found their next victim. They don't want you to know that they intentionally cause drama and chaos in your life, because this is what makes them feel grandiose. They don't want you to know that they get hurt more if you ever try to unmask, expose, and discard them. They get easily hurt because you caused yet another narcissistic injury, and they discard you only if they have another replacement. 99% of the time, if a discard happens, there was another replacement. There was another person in place ready to go. A narcissist does not want you to know that they are bored very, very easily, and they are probably bored right now or all of the time, and that they are attention seekers. And the only way to cover themselves from getting exposed is the love bombing strategy. They don't want you to know that you criticize them. When you criticize them, they cannot take criticism. And anybody that does this, it is hell to pay. The reason that they belittle and badmouth you and then devalue gifts and people and anything that you give to them is to cover their shame and the self-esteem that they don't have. They don't want you to know these things. They don't want you to know that they can never stick to a partner, even if it's the new supply that you were just replaced with. They will never be with one partner. It is impossible. They cannot survive without cheating on you. Self-validation is necessary, and hence they enjoy the one-night stand, threesome, foursome, or anything that you can call it way more than they will ever enjoy your relationship. The narcissist does not want you to know that anytime you show emotion, they will perceive it as you being weak. The narcissist does not want you to know that they never practice what they preach, and they don't want you to know that whenever you get sick, they will not dote on you just like they expect you to dote on them whenever they get sick. They will resent you for being sick, especially if it inconveniences them in any way. They do not want you to know that they have possibly several phones, phone numbers, email addresses, social media accounts, dating site accounts, and that they are active on these accounts and probably were active on them even in the love bombing stage of your relationship. They don't want you to know that one of the reasons that they sought you out is because you subscribe to the notion that it is you subscribe to the notion of personal integrity, and that is also relationship integrity, but they do not subscribe to this relationship integrity, and they see it as weak. They don't want you to know that they believe on putting emphasis on relationship integrity makes you easier to manipulate, so they feign those things. They don't want you to know that they wish that this integrity in life and relationships, no matter how it manifests, they are actually envious of you for having this, and they wish that it was a part of their outward, and they will make it a part of their outward false persona or a part of the mask. They do not want you to know that because they are not constructed to have integrity, they will compensate for that by convincing themselves that integrity, like I said, is a sign of weakness. They don't want you to know that in roughly 3 to 6 months from the day of your relationship, from the day that your relationship started, they will likely have a pathological urge to diminish your self-esteem. They do not want you to know that everything that you say, they never believe a word of any single thing that you say, and they think that your relationship and everything that you do everything you do and say is a con, because everything they do and say is a con. They take absolutely nothing you say at face value. They also don't want you to know that when you do anything nice for them, their first instinct is to think that your kindness is merely a ploy to manipulate them, because anything that they do that is nice for you is a ploy to manipulate you. They don't want you to know that they are always keeping their options open for a better deal. They don't want you to know that when you are with him or her, that any prospective attention sources, they don't want them to know. They don't want any prospective new supply sources to even know that you exist. And the narcissist does not want you to know that from the day your relationship began, they have been looking for evidence that you have been lying, cheating, and stealing from them. The narcissist does not want you to know that they're going to store this evidence, in quotation marks, if any, at a later date. And when you catch them pulling some relationship transgression, such as cheating, they will trot out this stored evidence as a mean to deflect away from the topic concerning their wrongdoing. The narcissist doesn't want you to know that if they meet a better fuel provider, they will likely dump you and trade up, in other words, so they can avoid this gap in their fuel or supply provision, and that your relationship was doomed to fail from day one.